What if the greatest mystery on Mars wasn't the face itself? The Cydonia enigma, that mile-long carving, has obsessed humanity since 1976. But the thing nobody tells you is that solving it was the easy part. A new artificial intelligence just did it, confirming it's just a hill. But that's not the story. The real story, the terrifying part, is what the AI found after it solved the face. It uncovered 1,000 new horrors and a truth about Mars's past that changes everything. The Cydonia case is officially closed. The face on Mars. Even saying the word sounds like the title of a classic sci-fi movie. For almost 50 years, this single, grainy photograph has been the poster child for alien hunters and conspiracy theorists everywhere. It was, for many, the ultimate what if. What if we were not alone? What if, millions of years ago, an ancient civilization on Mars built a colossal monument, a face over a mile long to stare up at the cosmos? Or maybe to wait for us. The story began in 1976. The Viking 1 orbiter was circling the red planet, snapping thousands of pictures of the surface, scouting for potential landing sites for its sister craft. On July 25th, as it passed over a region called Cydonia, it took photograph 35A72. When that image was beamed back to Earth, scientists at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory saw it. There, in a mess of hills and craters, was a massive mesa, a flat-topped hill that looked uncannily like a human face. It had 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and even what looked like a headdress or a helmet. It was spooky, to put it mildly. The scientists at the time were quick to dismiss it. They pointed out that the sun was at a very low angle, just 10 degrees, creating long, dramatic shadows that played tricks on the eye. They called it an illusion, a simple play of light on an eroded hill. They even released the photo to the public to show how funny geology can be. But the public didn't laugh. You see, the 1970s were a time when people were crazy about ancient aliens and lost civilizations. The idea that this wasn't just a hill took root and grew into a full-blown cultural phenomenon. Books were written, documentaries were made, people claimed to find other structures nearby. A pyramid, a fortress, even a city. The face became proof that humanity was being lied to, that the government was hiding the truth about our alien neighbors. For decades, the debate raged. Scientists insisted it was a trick of light. Believers insisted it was a cover-up. The problem was, for a long time, we couldn't get a better picture. Mars is a difficult target. Its orbit is different from ours, and it's famous for planet-wide dust storms that can last for months, hiding the entire surface under a red haze. For years, every attempt to get a new, clear shot of Cydonia was frustrated by weather or bad timing. Then, in 1998 and 2001, the Mars Global Surveyor finally flew over the spot. It snapped new pictures thousands of times more detailed than the old Viking ones, and it looked like a hill. A very lumpy, very boring, very natural hill. The eyes were just different peaks. The mouth was a long, sloping valley. The helmet was just a jumble of rocks. For the scientific community, this was the end of the story. Case closed. But for true believers, it wasn't enough. They claimed the new images were faked, or that they had been digitally altered to hide the truth. The mystery for them lived on, that is, until 2024. This is when a new kind of investigator was put on the case. Not a human, but an artificial intelligence. This wasn't just any program. It was a convolutional neural network. That's a fancy term for a type of AI that's built to see. You can think of it like a digital baby's brain. Scientists showed this AI millions and millions of pictures of human faces. Happy, sad, old, young, in shadow, in bright light. The AI learned, just like we do, to recognize the pattern of a face, even when it's partially hidden or in weird lighting. It became an expert face hunter, better and faster than any human. Then they pointed this super intelligent AI at Mars. They didn't just give it the old blurry pictures. They fed it the most detailed, high-resolution data ever collected from the red planet. This data came from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO. This satellite is a technological marvel. It orbits Mars right now, and its cameras are so powerful they can spot something on the ground as small as a coffee table from an altitude of 186 miles. We're talking about a resolution of just 10 inches per pixel. That's like you being on the International Space Station and being able to spot a single baseball on the pitcher's mound. This AI, with its perfect memory and unbiased eyes, scanned every inch of the Cydonia region. It didn't just look at flat 2D pictures. It combined the visual data with ground-penetrating radar and light detection and ranging, or LiDAR, scans. This built a perfect 3D model of the face, mapping every rock, every crack, and every grain of sand. The AI's final report was delivered in seconds, and it was the final definitive nail in the coffin for the Great Martian Monument. The AI concluded with 99.9% certainty that the face on Mars is a completely, totally, 100% natural geological formation. But what many overlooked is that the AI didn't just say it's a hill. It explained exactly how this perfect illusion was created. It is a classic case of what scientists call pareidolia, the tendency for the human brain to see familiar patterns, especially faces, in random shapes. It's the same reason you see a rabbit in the clouds or a man in the moon. The AI's geological breakdown was fascinating. The face is what's known as an erosional remnant. Billions of years ago, this entire area was a flat plain, maybe the bottom of an ancient ocean. Then, a massive meteor struck nearby, creating an impact basin almost 3 miles wide and throwing a blanket of debris for miles. Over eons, the face is the last piece of that original plain that wasn't worn away. For billions of years, it was sandblasted by relentless Martian winds. During the planet's massive dust storms, these winds can blow at over 60 miles per hour for weeks on end. This constant gritty wind is the universe's greatest sculptor. The AI's model showed exactly how this wind carved out the eyes as 2 separate hollows. The mouth is what's called a slump scar. It's a geological feature where a massive chunk of the cliffside simply got too heavy and collapsed under its own weight, leaving a long curved depression that looks like a mouth. The helmet is just the jumble of fractured rock that was thrown from that ancient crater impact. It was a perfect cosmic coincidence. A random hill sculpted by random wind, lit by a random shadow, just happened to look like a face right when our first cameras were flying by. The AI had, in a single afternoon, solved the greatest alien mystery of our time. Case closed. The story is over, right? But that's not the terrifying part. Not even close. You see, the thing nobody tells you is that solving the face was just the AI's warm-up. The real mission, the one that led to the terrifying discovery, was what the AI did next. Because the AI didn't stop looking, it just started to scan the rest of the planet, and what it found was a nightmare. Mars is staring back. The AI had solved the Cydonia mystery. The face was a hill, but its programmers had a follow-up question. If the Cydonia face is just pareidolia, how common is this phenomenon? Is Mars trying to trick us? So they gave the AI a new, much broader command. Scan the entire planet. Scan every rock, every crater, every dune field, and flag anything that you recognize as a face. The AI, with its brain trained on hundreds of thousands of human faces, got to work. It sifted through petabytes of data. That's thousands of trillions of bytes of information. The result was staggering and, to be honest, a little creepy. The AI didn't just find one face. It flagged over 1,000 other locations across the surface of Mars that it identified as face-like. This is the first layer of the terror. We, as a species, were completely obsessed with one spooky-looking hill for 50 years. But the reality is, Mars is covered in them. The planet is staring back at us from every direction. The AI's new database was a gallery of Martian nightmares. It found what researchers started calling the Guardian of the Pole, a formation in the northern ice cap that looks like a giant frozen face locked in the ice. It found the Wailing Dunes, a series of sand dunes near the equator that from orbit look like a row of ghostly figures with mouths open. It exposed our own human bias in a stunning way. We are biologically programmed to find patterns. It's an ancient survival instinct, letting us spot a predator in the bushes or a friend in a crowd. The AI, which was intentionally trained to mimic this human trait, showed us that a dead planet, sculpted by nothing but wind, ice, and impacts for 4 billion years, is the ultimate abstract artist. It will, by pure chance, create illusions of life everywhere, but it gets much, much worse. What many overlooked is that some of these new faces were far more disturbing than the calm, majestic visage in Cydonia. The AI flagged a specific region in Gale Crater. This is a massive 96-mile-wide crater that scientists believe was once a giant lake. It's the exact same place where the Curiosity rover is right now, slowly climbing a mountain of ancient sediment. In this area, the AI found what researchers began calling the screaming rocks. These aren't calm faces. They are twisted, horrifying formations that look like they are locked in a moment of pure, unadulterated agony. They have wide-open gaping mouths and hollow black eyes that evoke a sense of planetary panic. It's as if the planet itself is crying out. Now, geologists, of course, have a perfectly logical explanation for these too. These are likely ancient volcanic vents, or fumaroles. They are places where, billions of years ago, superheated, acidic gas and water burst through the Martian crust. The screaming shape is just the result of this acidic vapor eating away and dissolving the rock for centuries, leaving these twisted, hollowed-out shapes. But the AI's pattern-matching algorithm trained on human emotions tagged them as agony. And here is the wow factor, the truly terrifying part. The science behind those vents is a story of genuine planetary horror. Those screaming rocks are the literal tombstone of Mars's oceans. They are the scars left behind from a time when the planet's core cooled, its magnetic field failed, and the sun's radiation began to boil the planet's water away. These rocks are the fossilized evidence of Mars's oceans turning into acidic steam and screaming as they vanished into the cold vacuum of space. The AI's algorithm didn't see rock. It saw the emotion of a planet's end. Then the AI's gaze shifted. It cross-referenced its findings with the other active rover, Perseverance, which is hundreds of miles away in the Jezero crater, and that's when it found the skull. In 2024, the Perseverance rover had snapped a picture of a strange, pale, rounded rock. It was small, maybe the size of a bobcat's skull. It had dark, leopard-like spots all over it, and it looked uncannily like a fossil. Human operators, seeing thousands of weird rocks every day, might have just logged it and moved on. But the AI, which was also programmed to hunt for biosignatures, or the chemical signs of life, went crazy over this one rock. It analyzed the chemical data that Perseverance had, zapped it with. The skull is a nodule of clay, but the dark leopard spots were something special, complex organic compounds. Now, organic is a tricky word. It just means the chemistry is based on carbon. It doesn't mean life. But the AI didn't stop there. It flagged a chilling similarity in the surrounding soil. The rock was part of a complex sulfur cycle. Here's the kicker. This specific chemical cycle is a near-perfect mirror of the waste products created by a certain type of life right here on Earth. They're called sulfur-reducing bacteria. These are some of the most ancient and toughest life forms we know. They thrive in total, complete darkness, deep underground, in places with no oxygen. They breathe sulfur and eat simple chemicals to survive. The AI didn't find a skull. It found the chemical lunchbox of a potential ancient underground ecosystem. This is where the wild theories get a little boost. What if it is a fossil? The AI can't say for sure, but the chemical evidence is tantalizing. It suggests that the real Martians, if they ever existed, weren't building giant faces on the surface. They were microbes, hiding in the mud, trying to survive the apocalypse, and their chemical ghosts are still scattered across the sand for our rovers to find. So, the AI solved the face, only to present us with 1,000 new, more disturbing questions. It proved the planet is covered in illusions, but underneath those illusions, it found the chemical whispers of a world that was violently extinguished. But the AI wasn't done. Its most terrifying find wasn't on the surface at all, it was buried deep underground. The real Martian sanctuaries. You see, the AI wasn't just looking at flat, two-dimensional pictures. It was a data fusion expert. It was combining its visual scans with advanced topography maps and, most importantly, ground-penetrating radar. It was building a complete 3D map of the Martian subsurface, looking for anomalies, hollow spaces, and strange densities that don't match the surrounding geology. And that map revealed something that has even the most skeptical grounded scientists buzzing. The mystery of Mars, it turns out, wasn't in Cydonia at all. It was hundreds of miles away, at a massive geological feature called Ascraeus Mons. To call Ascraeus Mons a volcano is a massive understatement. It's like calling the entire state of Texas a big backyard. This is one of the 3 colossal Tharsis Montes, a shield volcano so enormous it makes Mount Everest look like a tiny molehill. Ascraeus Mons towers over 11 miles high. That is more than twice the height of Mount Everest. Its base is over 340 miles wide. You could fit the entire state of Arizona over its base. It's an absolute monster, a true wow factor of solar system geology. For decades, scientists have suspected that Mars and the Moon would have lava tubes. These are giant hollow tunnels left behind by ancient volcanic eruptions. Here's how they form in simple terms. A massive river of red-hot lava flows across the surface. The top layer of this river of fire cools in the thin air, forming a solid rocky roof, but the lava underneath keeps flowing like water in a pipe. Eventually, the eruption stops, the river of fire drains away, and it leaves behind a perfect, hollow, rocky cave. On Earth, we have these. They're usually a few dozen feet wide. They're cool tourist attractions. But on Mars, the gravity is only about 38% of Earth's. That's the secret. With such weak gravity, the roof of these lava tubes can be much wider before it collapses. Theorists predicted for years that Martian lava tubes could be gigantic. The AI just found them, and they are bigger and more extensive than anyone dared to imagine. By analyzing tiny, almost invisible dips in the planet's gravity, and by spotting thermal anomalies, patches of ground that are slightly warmer or cooler than the rock around them, the AI mapped a vast interconnected network of massive subsurface voids. These aren't just caves. These are natural geological superhighways. The AI's models show that many of these lava tubes are over 300 feet wide. Let that sink in. You could fit an entire 100-yard American football field inside one of these tunnels, end zones and all, with room to spare on the sidelines. The AI's radar shows that some of these tunnels run for dozens of miles, perfectly intact, just a few hundred feet beneath the surface. This is a complete game changer for the search for life. Why? Because the surface of Mars as we know it is a nightmare. It is a dead, hostile wasteland. It's blasted by so much ultraviolet radiation from the sun that it would sterilize any known life form in minutes. It has almost no air, less than 1% of Earth's. And the temperatures are insane. They can swing by over 170 degrees Fahrenheit from day to night. Nothing, absolutely nothing as we know it, could survive up there. But inside these tubes, that's a different world. They are 100% protected from all of that deadly radiation. The thick, rocky roof is a perfect shield. The temperature inside would be incredibly stable, staying at a constant, chilly but survivable temperature year-round. And most importantly, scientists are convinced that these tubes are cold traps. They are the perfect place where the last of Mars's ancient water, now frozen as ice, could still be hiding, safe from the sun's rays that would turn it to vapor. These tubes are, to put it mildly, natural Martian sanctuaries. This is where the speculation, the wild theories that the SOPs mention, get a serious scientific boost. If life ever started on Mars, back 4 billion years ago when it was a blue planet with oceans and rivers, it would have had a problem. When the planet's atmosphere was stripped away, where could that life go? It would have had to flee. It would have had to escape the dying surface. It would have fled underground. These lava tubes are the most obvious and most survivable place for that life to make its last stand. But what if it wasn't just microbes? This is the thought that keeps people up at night. A tunnel 300 feet wide and 20 miles long isn't just a cave. It's a pre-built shielded habitat. It's a natural subway system. If an intelligent civilization had evolved on Mars, they would have been brilliant astronomers. They would have seen the end coming. They would have watched over thousands of years as their atmosphere thinned and their oceans vanished. Their first and only logical move for survival would have been to move their entire civilization underground. The AI, of course, cannot say what is in those tubes. It just flagged them as high-priority targets for future exploration. But the implication is chilling. For 50 years, we have been spending billions of dollars to land tiny car-sized rovers on the most dead, hostile part of the planet, the surface. We've been driving right over the top of massive, buried, city-sized structures that could, in theory, still be protecting the last remnants of Martian life. Or perhaps the ruins of a civilization that tried and failed to escape the end of their world. The AI didn't find a single stone face. It found a potential network of tombs, or just maybe crypts that are still waiting. This discovery forces a complete reevaluation of the entire Martian mystery, leading to the AI's final and most terrifying conclusion. The truth is worse than aliens. So let's tie all of this together. The famous face on Mars in Cydonia, the mystery that launched 1,000 conspiracy theories, is a hill. The AI proved it, case closed. It's a fascinating, mile-long illusion sculpted by nothing but wind and time. But the process of proving this unlocked a far greater and far more real planetary horror. The AI's final report didn't just debunk a myth, it wrote an obituary for a lost world. The real terror isn't that aliens built a monument. The terror is that an entire planet that could have and should have supported life was systematically, violently, and completely erased. We've been staring at the gravestones for 50 years without even knowing what they were. The AI's report gave this chilling phenomenon a name: planetary amnesia. Here's exactly what that means. Mars forgot it was alive. The AI's models, which combined every scrap of data from every rover and every orbiter, confirm a story that scientists have been piecing together for decades. 4 billion years ago, Mars was not the red, dead planet we see today. Mars was blue. It had a thick, rich atmosphere. It had clouds. It had weather. It had rain. And it had massive, deep, global oceans of liquid water. The AI's models crunched the numbers, estimating the planet lost over 5,000 cubic kilometers of water. That is a wow number that's hard to even imagine. That is enough water to cover the entire surface of the planet, every last inch, in an ocean hundreds of feet deep. It was a water world, a sister planet to our own ancient Earth. So, where did it all go? This is the solar scourge the data points to. This is the story of the planet's end. Unlike Earth, Mars is small, and its molten core cooled down billions of years ago. When that core cooled and stopped spinning, the planet's protective magnetic field, think of it like a giant, invisible force field, flickered and failed. On Earth, our magnetic field protects us from the sun's most dangerous energy. On Mars, that shield just went down. Without its shield, the sun's solar wind, which is a constant high-speed stream of energetic particles, became a cosmic sandblaster. It slammed directly into the Martian atmosphere for millions of years. It literally stripped the air and water away, molecule by molecule, and blew it all out into the vacuum of space. The screaming rocks the AI found in Gale Crater, those are the physical scars from this planetary catastrophe. The planet's water boiled off into space or froze solid, getting locked deep underground into subsurface ice lenses. The subsurface faces the AI spotted from thermal cracking. The AI proved the face is fake, but it found 1,000 real nightmares. What do you think is hiding in those giant lava tubes? Let us know below. Like and subscribe for more mysteries solved.